Hey everyone, thanks for joining me today as we take a look at the end of 1 Peter 4. It's all about suffering, which is an exciting topic in itself, but here we find Peter, who just got done talking about how believers are stewards of God's grace. After orienting them to that, Peter's telling them that suffering is going to come for them. He essentially starts this passage with, "Are you kidding me? What did you expect?" I don't have to tell you that following Jesus is really hard sometimes. We're going to face those fiery trials, that Greek word for trials meaning some intense experiences of pain. I'm confident you've been there. I have, and we all will be. Peter's saying you can expect it, and when that pain comes, rejoice. What? Rejoice in those experiences that we wanted nothing to do with in the first place? Those experiences that are uncomfortable at best? Yeah, those ones. But rejoice to the degree that you share Christ's sufferings. Right there, where life is hard and suffering abounds, we can point it toward Jesus, who suffered once for all. Like we've talked about before, he is our example and our contentment in and out of suffering. So Peter is reiterating that here, that when we suffer for the gospel as a Christian, as Peter says in verse 16, we identify with Jesus, and in that we can rejoice. That is what fuels our endurance when we're brought low and when we abound. The Spirit of glory and of God reminds us of our Savior, how he died to make things right. I love that just in these few verses, what's ahead for believers is brought up twice, that 2 times our sight is pointed to the future. In verse 13, we rejoice in sharing Christ's sufferings now so that we can rejoice and be glad when his glory is revealed. And then in verse 17, Peter considers the outcome of those who do not obey the gospel of God. One positive, one negative, but future. We can endure suffering with Christ as our example because this isn't it. I went to Dallas Seminary and their sort of slogan is teach truth, love well. And thinking about this passage, I'm just reminded that we can suffer well too. It's because of Jesus that we can love well and suffer well and be kind well and be generous well and be peaceful well and rejoice well and so many more things that glorify him. We can do them well even if they're uncomfortable, even if it brings pain, because we have a hope. One of my favorite things about this passage are those looks to the future, but in conjunction with verse 19, where Peter calls God Creator, a look back to the beginning. And not just Creator, but a faithful Creator, one who's been faithful from the start and won't ever stop. We can suffer well because God has more ahead. Jesus told us we're going to have trouble in this world. Sometimes it's going to be unpleasant, to say the least. But man, take heart, suffer well, because Jesus has overcome the world.